Just as a disclaimer, as always, some details without this video subject may be inappropriate for some people due to some details being too horrifying or too disturbing, so viewer discretion is always advised. Sadly, we're doing this for the last time, guys. But this is bittersweet. This is the last Fantastic Friday of 2022. And I'm really bittersweet about it. It was really fun doing all this. I enjoyed coming up with these concepts, and it's been really fun providing you with some of my favorite picks in the horror genres and subgenres, and I hope to continue this stylized content sort of like this going forward in my other videos, but we will see. Nothing is set in stone. This is the last one of Fantastic Friday, so I hope you enjoy it, and let's get right into the video. Alright, you know the rules. No going off to summer camp, no going off on your own, and definitely no premarital sex. Follow these, and if you're lucky, you might make it out alive. For decades, slasher horror has frightened and shocked many of us, so much so that we're traumatized from ever venturing out to summer camps, going out on Halloween, or trying to get closer to that special someone. So let's check out some of these. Nothing like some sibling rivalry to inspire a little healthy competition, right? I mean, sure, as long as you're okay with the possibility of envious-fueled murder. Starting off with Alice, Sweet Alice, this was released in 1976 and it's Alfred Soul. Originally entitled Communion, Alice, Sweet Alice is one of the most infamous films within the slasher genre, showcasing gruesome, repetitive, bloody attacks, religious iconography presented in morbid parallelism, and of course, a sinister mask. This film was mainly inspired by Nicholas Roeg's film Don't Look Now, a 1973 thriller starring Donald Sutherland, Hitchcock horror, and 1955 French film entitled Les Diaboliques, which is one of my favorite films, actually. It's a really good one in my opinion. Featuring more than just a macabre aesthetic, Alice, Sweet Alice presents horror in the mundane familial life, drawing back the proverbial nuclear family curtain to reveal a harsher reality of favoritism, rejection, and scrupulosity. Paula Shepherd plays the character of Alice extremely well, providing a sinister edge while maintaining a somewhat sympathetic portrayal of an adolescent struggling to navigate the dysfunctional environment of which she is surrounded. Compared to characters alike in The Bad Seed and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Alice is not inherently evil, or is at the very least a justified character given her background. Alice, Sweet Alice also introduces us to a young Brooke Shields playing the younger sister / victim Karen. Wow, really appropriate name choice there. Mildred Clinton also gives a chilling and eerie performance as the obsessed, sadistic Catholic Punisher, Miss Tredoni, who was originally supposed to be played by famous stage and screen actress Geraldine Page, and leaves us at the end of the film completely shocked. Among other narrative accolades, this film is shot in a disturbingly relatable fashion, emphasizing the horror and the monotony of American life and family, shattering the illusion of the American dream and all-American girl. The visual aesthetic is a moody, temperamental tone, coordinating with the events captured through the lens of the camera. This modern Gothic aesthetic is emphasized through the architectural features of the film's locale in New Jersey, thanks to Soul's restorative architectural career. Soul's style in this film was often compared to Giallo at the time, especially Argento films. However, he claimed not to have seen any Argento films. Okay. Nonetheless, there are parallels between Alice, Sweet Alice and Giallo, including religious motifs and dark humor, and is seen as the most Giallo-esque film in American cinema. Fun fact, on the production side, a collapsible knife was used in the violent stabbing sequences, so no actors were harmed in the making of this film, thank God. Soul also enlisted director William Lustig of the great slasher flick Maniac to assist in effects and shooting the murder sequences. It is one of the best and most notorious examples of slasher horror, even being confiscated in the UK during the video nasty panic of the 1980s due to its seemingly anti-Catholicism and brutal violence. Alice, Sweet Alice brings a chill down your spine and a knife in your side as long as you're up for deadly competition or malevolent sacrament. There are several get-rich-quick schemes out there for the average consumer to attempt in an endeavor to acquire untold wealth in a supposed matter of months. However, another effective manner to acquire wealth at a rapid rate exists in the form of inheritance. And if you're wanting to hit the jackpot, soul inheritance is the way to go, by any means whatsoever, including murder. You know where I'm going? Bay of Blood, 1971. This is Mario Bava. Considered the film that cultivated the American slasher film genre, A Bay of Blood is a brutal body count horror film by giallo master Mario Bava. In this film, a wealthy countess is murdered and the competition begins over who will secure her bay of wealth. We begin this bloodbath of horror with a fated falling out. Dardano Sacchetti, a screenwriter who worked closely with Bava and Fulci, began his writing collaborations with Bava following a falling out with Dario Argento after Cat o' Nine Tails, which also is a great giallo, by the way. This relationship manifested the 13 deaths of Bay of Blood, with Sacchetti citing Bava as the mastermind behind the infamous spear scene, while he imagined the wheelchair kill. However, this wouldn't be the Bava film we know if there weren't a few hiccups with production and writing. Since Bava had found himself deep in back tax terror, he needed to finish his film pretty quick, but when writers Franco Barberi and Dardano Sacchetti both quit due to issues with the production team, Bava found himself drowning. See what I did there? Enter producer Giuseppe Zaccarello. Zaccarello? I don't know. Zaccarello. I'm slashing that pronunciation. I'm definitely not slaying it. Who previously backed earlier Bava films, including Hatchet for the Honeymoon and $5 for an August Moon, stepped in, orchestrated, oversaw, and participated in the script writing for the film. Many writers had their hands in the script, and the title of the film was constantly being renamed with translations such as Ecology of Crime, Chain Reaction, Carnage, Twitch of the Death Nerve, and Bay of Silver, the latter of which was scrapped due to the apprehension revolving around a parody connection to an Argento film. As always in Bava fashion, his budget was extremely low, and he invoked his creative muses to pull off camera shots and effects using wax effigies, prop blades, and a child's toy wagon. With all this chaos, it's no wonder that Bay of Blood evolved to a brutal, murderous rampage, as tensions and stress could be relieved through this cathartic, violent expression. In fact, Christopher Lee allegedly saw the film in support of Bava due to his previous work with the director in The Whip and the Body, but was revolted by the carnage. Who would have thought the Count is revolted by the carnage? Bay of Blood features some wonderful B-movie shots, effects, and overdubbing, and is a great reminder that blood isn't always thicker than water. You're gonna miss these. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players or victims. Stage Fright, 1987, and Michel Savi. This slasher sees an acting troupe's late-night rehearsals of the night owl murderer targeted by an escaped former actor turned asylum patient. Dario Argento screenwriter protege Michel Savi's directorial debut gives support to the Oscar Wilde declaration that life imitates art and murder. But, I'm paraphrasing. This film is gruesome and haunting, with shocking visuals and theatrical deaths, providing us with the standard slasher attributes. Savi delivers in the killing room as much as he does in the production room, giving the ultimate design and aesthetic and horror. The cast gives a convincing killer performance, even providing the audience with a scream queen. I also love the various torture tools used by the killer in this film, featuring a drill, an axe, and the ever-effective chainsaw. Not to mention, the night owl headpiece is a beautifully and hauntingly designed costume piece. Be warned, this film is extremely violent and not for those who can't handle their heavy dose of diabolical theater, and it is a reminder that theater is really scary. Really. Have you been to a show recently? Double crossing, decapitation, and wait, these people are Canadian? I thought all Canadians were supposed to be nice. Moving on to Curtains, 1982. This is Richard Sipka / Jonathan Stryker, and I'll tell you why that is. From producer Peter R. Simpson, who brought you Prom Night and Terror Train, comes Curtains, an adult thriller about young girls auditioning for a role in a deceptive director's film called Audra, who one by one get taken out by an unknown killer. Starting off strong, we have veteran superstar actress Samantha Egger in the role of Samantha Sherwood, also an actress who gets duped and left in a mental asylum. There's a reason why method acting is a troublesome craft. The film also stars brilliant actor John Vernon as the seedy director Jonathan Stryker. While the plot of this film is pretty weak and all over the place, the acting is agreeable. This could be due to the production issues involved in the making of this film, slightly noted at the end credits where Act 1 and Act 2 are provided. A clash of creative titans between Peter Simpson and former director, who is no longer associated with the project, Richard Sipka, manifested the tumultuous fate of the film, where Sipka desired an art house thriller while Simpson was out looking for another cash cow commercial slasher, which only further contributed to the confusing tone and direction of the film, and Simpson's attempts to create a more mature slasher appealing to an older audience compared to his previous slasher flicks, because nothing says maturity like teens getting killed off for having premarital sex. I mean, come on, Mr. Simpson. It's slasher horror. Personally, I would have loved to see Sipka's art house vision, but I do love a campy slasher, as Curtains remains. The aesthetic of this film has a softness that juxtaposes itself amongst the violence and cynicism, while the camera effects and shots give it that voyeuristic camp charm. Along with a horrendous mask and toilet head, this film is an intriguing watch and an appealing early slasher. For now, that's Curtains on Curtains. Sometimes us fans can go too far. Too far, like breaking into our favorite horror movie actor's tomb and stealing his body to throw a party with. Moving on to Frightmare, aka the horror star 1983. This is Norman Thaddeus Vane. Writer and director Norman Thaddeus Vane gives us slasher gold with his film about a group of college friends who body snatch their favorite horror movie star from his tomb and party like it's 1999. Unluckily, he has risen from his unhallowed place in hell and brings destruction and death upon the group. An incredibly camp performance is given by villain character actor Ferdy Mayne as the Vincent Price Christopher Lee homage character Conrad Razoff. Frightmare also marks the horror movie debut of one of my favorite B-movie and Star Trek actors, Jeffrey Combs. Gotta love him. You may know him as Mr. Herbert West in Reanimator. This film, while very much a slasher, is really kind of funny. There are scenes in which Conrad provides eerie narration from beyond and is quite unintentionally comical. Not to mention, this film features an overly dramatic and out-of-focus lighting seance sequence that gives us some good laughs. In fact, this film almost feels like a parody film with the likes of Pandemonium. However, its brutality would suggest that it wasn't exactly the aim. Fun fact from this film is that most of the horror memorabilia featured was provided by Forrest J. Ackerman. And if you don't know who that is, I guess you're not a nerd. This slasher has a really interesting plot concept of being self-referential while possessing the typical slasher characteristics. The acting isn't too bad and even appears to break the fourth wall with Conrad's video messages from hell. It's shot pretty well and combines the gothic horror and slasher aesthetic, creating a visual appealing atmosphere and teaches us that hell is a place on earth. What's better than being on fall break with friends, a beach house, and a little R&R? If by R&R you mean Ravage and Revenge, then you're in luck. Our last one is The Mutilator, also known as Fall Break, in 1984. This is Buddy Cooper and John S. Douglas. Buddy Cooper brings us a tale of a group of college kids who go on fall break but don't end up coming back. A classic slasher with all the trimmings, and I do mean that quite literally. With an interesting twist and spoiler, the dad is the killer. Vindictive dad Big Ed can't resist going after his son who accidentally killed his wife after attempting to clean a gun, and takes it out on his friends too. Talk about having some daddy issues. While having that low-budget charm, The Mutilator brings gore to the screen as the main star in entertainment and features some bloody good scenes involving a most nautical theme. It's campy, horrific, and tackles the gore bait really well. That's a bad joke, by the way. And if you really enjoy this film, I have some good news. The sequel for this film has wrapped on filming as of June 2022, so we may get to see more of The Mutilator. Overall, it's not the most profound plot-wise or acting-wise, but I respect the inventiveness around producing the murder scenes and the practicality of effects all around. This film really has that straightforward slasher quality to really reel you in. That's the last one, folks, of the month. Well, it's curtains for this video. As a precaution, let's make peace with our families, avoid all get-rich-quick schemes or any theater production, stage or screen for that matter, and if you and a group of friends decide that it's a good idea to travel off on your own, have a few drinks, and some good old premarital fun, you might find yourself at the end of someone's knife or hook or chainsaw. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I have all my friends here. I have Mr. Jack Torrance, Mr. Hannibal, Mrs. Wendy Torrance, and the son. I can't remember his name. Danny. Oh, they're really gonna kill me for not knowing that. For blanking on that.